If you aren't consistently getting 5-star reviews from the majority of your past clients, then it might be time to think about a new strategy.
With over 100 5-star reviews on multiple platforms, Sarah and I know how to encourage our clients to leave us raving reviews, and in this video, we're pretty much sharing all our secrets.
Yeah. But before we jump into that, we want to introduce ourselves.
I'm Hunter.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're Hunter and Sarah Photography, a professional husband and wife wedding photography team.
We're also educators, and our goal is to help photographers to build strong foundations in both their businesses and their personal lives so that they can run profitable and sustainable photography businesses.
So in the last video, the previous video in this series, we talked about how something as simple as just creating a small blog for each of your sessions can have a huge impact on your business.
So this week, we are going to be wrapping up this huge 10-part series by talking about how glowing 5-star reviews from past clients can be a really powerful force for your business and also how to get them. So let's jump in.
So let's start with why you really should even care about online reviews in the first place. Now, as you guys are aware, we are living in a world where Yelp exists. So you probably already know that, and this is especially true for millennials and Gen Zs, that we are inherently just a little bit skeptical, a little bit suspicious about pretty much everything we see on the internet.
Yeah, as we should be. We've basically been sold to by companies for most of our conscious or all of our conscious lives, whether it was, first on TV through commercials, then on the internet through ads, and then recently more and more through social media, and also from just influencers on our own feeds. So now hearing a company be like, buy this thing, you need it, or someone being like, come eat my food, it's so good, just doesn't quite cut it anymore. And that's really where online reviews come in.
So online reviews are a type of what's called third-party validation. And third-party validation is something we spoke about sort of really briefly way back in part 3 of this series, which that video, by the way, was all about how you could basically encourage your past clients to refer you to future clients, which, by the way, if you missed that, check that out up here. But very simply, third-party validation is this idea that someone other than the business itself is actually recommending that business, right? So business is one party, you as the client are the second, a third party, a totally unrelated person is coming in and saying, hey, that business is right, they're pretty great.
Yeah, third-party validation is why you are usually more excited to try out a new restaurant or maybe you try watching a new Netflix show when your best friend tells you that it's awesome, and why you trust a restaurant more when it has 4.5 stars on Google.
But unfortunately, as you are also aware, online reviews also work the same way in reverse. This is why if your friend comes to you and is like, oh my God, that new place in town, it sucks, don't even bother. You're probably not going to go there. Or if you're looking at restaurants in a new town and you're like, oh, this place has 2.1 stars, you're probably not going to go there.
Yeah, your girl doesn't go to a restaurant unless it has more than 4.5 stars. I'm very specific
So
about
bougie.
it. So online reviews are just a slightly less personal version of a recommendation from a friend, but one with a much wider reach. That past client who left you that glowing 5-star review could have that review read a couple dozen or even a couple hundred times by the time you're over the course of your business.
Now, you probably knew all of that already, but here's something you might not have thought about. Even if you do an incredible job week in and week out and always give your clients a great experience and you never lose your clients' photos or totally screw up a wedding day, right? Even if you always do a great job, people may still leave you bad reviews, basically, right? And so we actually had this happen to one of our coaching students who literally had a past client basically try to extort her using a negative online review as extortion, right? And so this client had already gotten the photos back and basically demanded a full refund plus more money on top of that, or she was threatening to go leave a 1-star review. And so when our photography student was like, I'm not going to give you the session for free and pay you just to not leave me a review, that client went in, left a 1-star review, and just made up a bunch of stuff, said that she was unprofessional, said that she showed up late, all these things, and that just none of it was true. And literally just tried to use reviews as a way to extort her.
Yeah, and we even had someone go and leave our photography a 1-star review because they were offended by a negative Airbnb review that we left them. This person had never interacted with us personally. They had never interacted with our photography business, but they were still able to go and leave our photography business a bad review.
So you might not have either of these situations. You might not interact with a crazy person or some really butthurt Airbnb guest, but even if you never screw up a job, there still might be crazy people out there who, for whatever reason, leave you a 1-star review. And the thing is, depending on the platform, it can be almost impossible to have those reviews removed.
Yeah, so gathering as many of those 5-star reviews as you can is also just a really good way to protect yourself from those negative reviews when they do inevitably come. Like, even though Google refused to remove this 1-star review from our site that was completely unrelated to our photography business.
Which, by the way, in the review, the guy said, I have never interacted with their photography business, but... and Google still refused to take it down, right?
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to get a 1-star or any reviews removed.
Yeah, but even though they were unwilling to remove that, because we have more than 100 other reviews that are all 5 stars, our average business rating is still 5 stars.
It went from 5 stars to 5 stars, even after a 1-star review.
Yeah, so
this student of ours, she only had 2 reviews. So when you added a 1-star review in, suddenly her average was like, it went way down.
yeah, so just don't start waiting. Like, don't wait until you get those negative reviews to suddenly start beginning to collect those positive reviews.
Yeah. Okay, so now you're probably excited and maybe a little bit nervous even, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to start collecting all these awesome 5-star reviews. So let's chat about how you actually get them. And honestly, this is going to sound maybe like, this is going to sound obvious, but at the very most basic level, the trick is to just ask and then keep asking.
Yeah. Over time, we have found that only about like 10% of our wedding clients are going to go and leave a review without being asked. So if you are not being proactive about getting those online reviews, you could shoot literally hundreds of weddings and your online profile might look like you've only had like a couple dozen clients based on your reviews. On the other hand, we found that close to like 70% of our clients will eventually go and leave a positive review once they've been asked and like maybe reminded once or twice.
By the way, if you're doing the math, you're like, okay, 10% will do it without being asked and 70% will do it if they were asked. What that means is there's, somewhere around 20% who, no matter how well you serve them and how many times you ask, are just never going to leave a review. And that is just a reality. So try not to be offended when, you deliver the best wedding gallery of your life and they basically read the email, download the photos, and then never reply. It just happens sometimes.
For one of our winter couples, I gave one of our brides like the sweater off of my back and they never went and left a review. Doesn't matter what you do. Some people are just not going to do it.
It just happens sometimes. Yeah. You just gotta live with that.
So let's just talk about those tips to get that middle 70% to actually go and leave you a review.
Yeah, right. The last thing you want to do is just sit around and just hope that they come in. So for starters, one of our tips is to ask very soon after delivering the final gallery of photos. And if they respond positively to the final gallery, then you ask right away, right? And so people are really most excited about their wedding photography or their portrait photography experience at 2 points. The first is immediately after they actually encounter you. So for example, like sometimes we will post a sneak peek of a wedding day, just 10 photos the day after a wedding, and our clients will go and leave us a 5-star review. Like, they just had such a good time with us, they don't even need to see the final gallery, right? But again, that's sort of that 10% you can't really control. The other time, and this is when most of your clients are going to be most excited about their photos, are when they first get them, like right after you deliver that final gallery, and they get to sit down together and go relive their whole wedding day, or the parents sit down and they get to review that family session from start to finish.
Yeah. So if we deliver a gallery and our couple responds telling us just how much they absolutely love the photos, they are just gushing over the images, we respond right away, thanking them for their kind words, and then asking them to leave that positive review, like to share that positive reaction with the world and go and leave us a positive review. But more on like how to specifically ask that in a sec.
So on the other hand, if they don't respond to that initial gallery delivery at all, which again, this happens all the time, we can see that they've read the email, we know that they've checked out the photos, they just didn't respond directly. Again, totally fine. People are busy. We get it. But if they don't respond, then we try not to wait more than a week or so. And then we go ahead and reach out and ask for reviews. Once we've asked once, we're really persistent, honestly. We just keep following up until either they've left the review or we've asked so many times and they've ignored every single one. And we're like, okay, it's not going to happen. And we sort of just give up.
Yeah, you're like, they're the 20%.
Yeah. But especially if you are new in your business and do not have many reviews, being persistent is so important, because if you gave them a great experience, it's not very likely that you're going to make them so mad by following up for reviews that they're going to go and leave you a bad review. So for me, it's like, okay, maybe following up a third time, like what's it going to hurt, right? But if it basically leads them to actually leave a review, that could help way more.
Yeah. And when we do ask for these reviews, we don't ask for an review. We actually tell them that a glowing 5-star review can have such a positive impact for us and our business.
And we use that exact language.
Mm-hmm. And later on in that first email, we actually tell them if for whatever reason you don't feel like you could honestly leave us a 5-star review, please let us know so that we can make things right.
And so those two phrases, which again, Sarah, we quoted almost directly from our sort of post-wedding feedback request email template. Those two phrases have basically implied to our clients that we want them to either go leave us a 5-star review or talk to us. And there is no middle ground, right? We don't want 2-star, 3-star, 4-star reviews. And obviously we can't say exactly how this has affected the reviews that we get, but we do know that since we started using this language, we have never gotten anything but a 5-star review, or the 20% who never leaves us a review, but we haven't gotten anything in between.
Yeah. Another really, really important thing to be aware of is that some couples create a whole new wedding email in order to like separate their wedding planning activities from their normal lives. Like it's helpful to compartmentalize. We get it. The only problem with that is that as soon as the wedding is over, they completely stop checking this email. Mm-hmm. That makes following up for reviews and also selling prints or albums later on down the road, and even just like delivering their wedding gallery to them really difficult, which is why we ask for their personal email when they sign the contract, not their wedding email. We specifically say, we want your personal email, not your wedding email.
We did once have a client call us like 3 or 4 weeks after we delivered their wedding gallery, and they're like, hey guys, you told us 6 to 8 weeks. It's been 10 or 12 weeks. And we were like, yeah, we sent it to you. They're like, to what email? We're like, the one you gave us. And they're like, oh, I haven't checked that since the wedding day. We're like,
good job.
I don't know what to tell you about that. But
that's the only one I got.
Yeah. Okay, so on to the next section. The best, and so here's the problem, is you start getting busy and all of a sudden asking for reviews falls by the wayside, right? That's what you don't want to happen. And so honestly, the best way to actually remember to consistently ask for reviews every single time you do a job is to build it into your workflow. And if you aren't familiar with the concept of workflow, basically this is just a repeatable process that you bring each and every client through. So these are all the steps from like, hey, someone DM'd me on Instagram, or oh, look at, lead in my inbox, all the way through the final gallery delivery, asking for reviews, that basically make up the journey that you and your customers go on together.
Yeah, and if you have a workflow already, whether it's something that you've got written down that you just like keep to yourself to track, or if it's something more advanced like an automated set of emails through something like Honeybook or like another automated kind of like client management system, make sure that requesting online reviews and then following up repeatedly is part of that workflow.
Yeah. So you also want to let your clients know, and this is just another tip, that the request for reviews is coming, right? Because if they think that the final gallery delivery is the last email, is sort of the end of your customer photographer relationship, then they might sort of stop looking for your emails, or they might miss them, they might ignore them. And so if you let them know in that delivery email, hey, by the way, let us know how you love the photos. If we don't hear from you, we're going to reach out in a week or so. Then when that email does come, they're expecting it, and they already have in the back of their head, oh, when Hunter and Sarah email me, I need to be ready to leave those reviews.
Yeah. And as you are building your workflow, keep in mind that requesting reviews should be the absolute very last thing that you do. So if part of your workflow involves selling prints or designing a wedding album, do those first before you ask for reviews.
Likewise, if you're going to do an engagement session and a wedding day, wait until you do both before you ask for reviews, rather than just getting it after the engagement session. Yeah. So the very last step. But by the way, if you are confused by this concept of workflow, or you know that you need one but you don't have one, Sarah and I are planning to host a workshop at some point in the next few months, or maybe sort of in the first half of next year, that is all about workflow. Why they're essential for your business, how you can create one, how you can basically save so much time and energy day in and day out by using them, automations, all that good stuff in the day in and day out of your business. So keep your eyes posted on that. The best way to know when that happens is going to be to join our Facebook community. More on that at the end of this video or in the description. But if you're watching this video like way after it was actually posted in, October of 2022, we may have already done the workshop, and the link would be in the description. So just a quick caveat there.
Yeah. So now the final question,
Yes, back to reviews.
when it comes to reviews, is where you should actually host them. And there are literally thousands of websites out there where clients can leave reviews about your business. So the best way to kind of narrow those down is to just prioritize those websites that your clients are using to find you, and then focusing on like no more than 3 or 4.
So I think at very minimum, you should have a Google business page, right? And so that's when you Google the name of your business and it sort of pops up in this little bar and it hosts reviews and you can do photos and all that stuff. That is sort of the bare minimum and is a great place to start. But if you currently or are, one day soon plan to use websites like Thumbtack or Facebook or The Knot or Wedding Wire or Bark, whatever sites you think you will be using for your clients to find you, that's a great place to host those reviews. Again, keeping in mind that you need at least one, and if you try to do more than like 3 or 4, then your clients will probably get overwhelmed and just won't leave your reviews at all.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You literally never know where your clients will find you. If you have a ton of 5-star reviews on Thumbtack, but all of your clients are finding you on The Knot, where you only have like one single review, you're probably not going to book as many clients as if you had all of those 5-star reviews on both of those sites. Yeah. That's why we ask our clients to write one review and then copy and paste it to multiple sites. We, of course, provide a link to, like a direct link to all of those sites in every email we send where we do ask for reviews.
Just making it as easy as possible, but also still trying to get not one review on multiple sites. By the way, if they leave a review on just a single platform, which often happens with that 10% who sort of leave one right away without being asked, so they didn't even know where, they just Googled us and, sort of left the first review they saw. When something like that happens, we often reach out and just genuinely thank them for not only leaving a review, but doing it proactively. And then we usually say, hey, would you mind taking just like 60 seconds to copy and paste that review to a few other sites? And then we link not only the sites, but we will also directly quote their own review back to them. So it's literally as simple as like copy, click the link, paste, and then they're done.
Yeah. Knowing where you want to gather reviews is especially important if you've been shooting for a little while, but you don't have any reviews yet. Mm-hmm. You are going to want to write a single email where you briefly explain like how important reviews are to you and to your business, include those links, and then ask for a review. Then you're going to want to send that email to every single client that you have ever photographed who you believe would leave you that positive review.
And honestly, this is a great way to sort of beef up that early phase of your business with suddenly lots of great online reviews. Even if many of those sessions were like really cheap ones you did early on, or even if they were free model shoots, as long as you feel like you delivered a quality product and did a great job based on the value that you were charging, these people are probably willing to leave you a positive review. And honestly, just at the end of the day, if a client is going to be comparing 2 photographers, you and another one, and you guys are in similar price ranges, you both have similar editing style, but one of you has literally 0 reviews and the other one has like 10 or 15 5-star reviews on multiple websites, then they're going to have a little bit more confidence in that photographer who has more online reviews.
But that's it for this week.
Guys, thank you so much for watching not only this video, but this entire 10-part video series, Free Marketing Tactics for Photographers. If you, by the way, have not seen the rest of this series, it is just packed with great marketing tactics just like this one that are totally free for you as the photographer, but can help you build early momentum in your business.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, if somehow along this 10-part series you haven't done this yet, we would really, really encourage you to join our Facebook community, Mastering the Wedding Photography Biz with Hunter and Sarah. In that group, we are building a free community of other photographers who are also building their photography businesses and helping each other out along the way.
Now, Sarah and I post new content every single week, and even though the series is over, does not mean that's going to change, so make sure to like and subscribe so you do not miss any of our new content.
And finally, if you found this video helpful, if you have questions, if you'd like to add anything, comment below.
Bye, guys.